Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today's project, we're going to be installing these blinds on the window. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure the length of the unit itself. We're going to check what the manufacturer says, whether you need to have a hanger bracket in the middle to support the length of it. This particular one, it does call for one bracket in the middle of it, which we are going to install. But check your application for your particular blinds, just so you know. All right, first thing we're going to do now is we're going to take our bracket, our left or right bracket, they're marked inside, and we're going to bring it up and we're going to put it on the location where we're going to mount it. And here's my two dogs. They're always, wherever I'm working, they're always there to watch and see what's going on. And of course, they got to have their beds so they can be comfortable while they're watching me work. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take these brackets and we're going to put them up on the window. We're going to mark exactly where we're going to put them, and then we're going to pre-drill it so that we don't crack the woodwork. Now, pre-drilling is very important. If you don't pre-drill the hole, you're going to wind up splitting the woodwork, and then you're going to wind up with a bigger problem. So take an extra minute or two and make sure you pre-drill it with a 1/16 or a 1/8 inch drill bit. Now here's an example of what kind of tools you're going to be needing to get this job done. We're going to use a drill to pre-drill the holes. We're going to use either a 1/16 or a 1/8 inch drill bit. We're going to use a regular screwdriver or a driver bit for the drill that we're using. Of course, we're going to need our brackets that we're going to mark on the wall exactly where they're going to go, and then we're going to pre-drill them, of course. We're going to mark them, and then we're going to get up there and pre-drill the holes so we don't have any kind of a cracking taking place. All right, so let's grab it and get up there and continue. Okay, so we're going to bring our bracket up. We're going to put it onto the woodwork. We're going to mount it to the woodwork, not onto the wall itself. Now you have the option, if it works for you, you can mount it to the wall itself, but we are going to mount it onto the woodwork. So we're going to bring it up there. We're going to mark it exactly where we're going to drill the holes. There's 4 holes in there. We're just going to use 2 of the 4, just so you know. All right, and once we've marked it, we have it here and here. We're going to grab our drill, pre-drill it, and then we'll mount this bracket up on the right side. Okay, nice and slow. We don't want to split anything, and we don't want to go too far. We're just going to drill it in the depth of the screw itself. Now the screw is probably about an inch, inch and a half, so that's how far we're going to drill it in. About an inch and a half. And now when we put the drill in, and when we put the screws in there, they'll have the hole to go into, and there won't be any splitting taking place on the wood itself. Next, we're going to grab our bracket. We're going to get our screws, and we are going to run these screws in using our electric screwdriver. Be careful you don't split anything. You don't want to screw it in too tight and strip the holes out. So we're going to screw it in just till it's snug up against the window. We are going to catch just the one and bring it in about 3/4 of the way, all the way in. And then we'll grab our second screw before we tighten up the first screw, and we'll catch that second screw in place too. All right, let's grab that screw and put that in there. All right, again, I want to emphasize you don't want to strip it out. You just want to bring it in till it's snug. And then we'll tighten it down the rest of the way. After we have that screw screwed in all the way, we'll come up and we'll make sure our second screw or first screw is nice and tight. After our right side bracket is securely tightened down, we're going to take our left side bracket. We're going to do the exact same thing we did on the right side. We're going to hold it up to the window. Of course, we measured to make sure that the blinds now are going to fit in there correctly. We're going to bring it up. We're going to mark exactly where we're going to pre-drill it. Put our marks in there. Let's grab our drill. Let's drill it. And then we'll get the left side bracket up. Remember, start drilling very slowly so you have a perfect hole through there and it doesn't walk around and wind up making a mess. Okay, let's grab our bracket. We'll put our screws in it. We're going to hold it up there. Remember, we're going to screw one screw 3/4 of the way, almost all the way in, but it's not going to be 100% tight. Then we're going to grab our second screw, and we're going to screw it in until that is almost tight too. And then once the 2 of them are in, Then we can come in there and we can snug everything in nice and tightly. Again, don't over tighten it. You don't want to split the woodwork. All right, once you get the second screw in almost all the way, we're going to come up here and we're going to check the first screw just to make sure that everything is nice. Okay, so once you have your left bracket in and your right bracket in, we're going to come over, we're going to measure to the center point of the window, and then we're going to take our one center support and we're going to put that in. So we're going to mark exactly where it's going to go, and again we're going to pre-drill that just to make sure that we have no splitting taking place when we're screwing the screws in. All right, so let's measure it, and then we'll get up there and we're going to drill that hole, and we'll get that bracket mounted up as well.
Okay, next we put our bracket where we want to have it centered in the window here itself. And we're going to mark where we're going to pre-drill it. We're going to put a little spot there and a little spot there. And now we're going to pre-drill those holes. Okay, we're going to take our bracket. We're going to put it up here where it's supposed to go. Put our screw in here. And now we're going to screw it in partially. Remember, we're not going to tighten it all the way in. I will tell you this, if you're trying to screw this in and that little tiny screw hole strips out right there, it's no big deal. You can get a socket and put a socket over the top of it. This looks like it's about a 1/4 inch socket. So you can put a 1/4 inch socket over this and tighten it in the rest of the way if you need to. All right, so let's get that second screw in there now. Hold your bracket straight, and then you can snug them down. And now we'll tighten up the second screw up on top. Okay, and the bracket is nice and tight. Let's get our blinds and let's hang our blinds in there, and we should be all set. So now we have our blinds. We're going to take them in. We're going to slide it into this bracket here, and then we'll get it in the end over here. Nice and easy. And then once you have it caught in there, just push it in until it's all the way, and then lock this in place like that. And now our blinds are hung. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to attach our wand over here to open and close the blinds. And now we take our wand, and as you can see, there's a small little hole in the end of the wand here, and we're going to slide it onto this little piece right here. So just lift it up, put it over the top like that, slide it down, and that's all there is to it. Now, if you were going to put a valance on here, which I am not going to do, it comes with a valance, and I'm not going to use it because I have something else going over the top of it. But if you were going to use a valance, at this point you would take these clips here, okay, and you would clip them onto the top right up here. They go right over the top, just like that, and then you would attach your valance onto here. But as I said, I'm not using that, so I'm not going to be putting these on. All right, so we're going to take these out. Also, they give you these little clips like this. If you choose to take the blinds and secure them down to the bottom woodwork down here, you can mount these little clips in there and it'll stay intact and it will not move back and forth. But again, as I said, I'm not using these either. All right, so enough talking. Let's pull these blinds down and let's open them and close them and make sure they work the way they're supposed to. I'm going to grab the blinds here and we'll pull them down. Pull them down as far as you want them, and they stop. And then, of course, you can adjust it as needed, however you choose to. Now, as I said, if you choose to install these pieces here, they would mount on the side right here, and they would clip into the blinds just like that, and you can secure it down to the woodwork if you choose to. And basically the same way you install the top bracket, you install these, you put 2 screws in it, and you secure it to the woodwork or to the wall, and that's it. You can hold the blinds in place, but as I said, I'm not going to be using that. But that's it. This job is done. Just make sure you check with your manufacturer how many brackets you need to have for the width of the window that you're installing this on. All right, this job is done, and we're on to the next one. All right, as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.